You know what it feels like to get those cold leads that seem like they're from Antarctica. That's not going to close anytime in this millennium. But listen, if there was a way, just if there was a way that you could get that cold lead turned into a warm, hot lead, would you be interested? Would you be at least willing to listen to a 30-minute podcast episode about it? Well, that's what I'm proposing. And today, my friend Shoan Snoday is going to tell you what he's doing and how it's working for him to turn those cold leads into hot prospects. It's going to be good. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we have a great guest, a marketing strategist, a dude who's going to bring you some insights, a sales rep that has been successful, and now an entrepreneur and a business owner. His name is Shoan Snoday, and Shoan is going to break down what he's doing to turn those cold, nasty prospects into warm, amazing prospects. It's not too complicated, not too difficult, but listen to what he's doing and see how you can take this and apply this to your selling efforts. Let's go ahead and dive into the episode. Hey, welcome to the show, Shoan.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Of course, man. I'm looking forward to chatting with you, and I appreciate you having me on your podcast a little bit back, and I want you to maybe tell a little bit more about that a little bit later, about your show, and get people excited to check that out as well. But before we dive into all the fun stuff and start talking about turning these cold prospects into warm lead, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you, man?
Well, so over the last 30 years, I've represented Microsoft. So I worked with companies such as Danka, Gateway 2000, Dell Computers, writing their systems and processes. And the last is a rather small boutique company that I worked with was Microsoft as their marketing manager of San Diego and Southern California, in a matter of fact. So it was really a great thing. And then I went on my own back in 2014 and started a marketing agency, marketing and sales. And ever since then, I've worked with like Jeff Walker, Frank Kern, all the big marketing people. And the last thing I'll say is I'm a digital marketer partner with the largest traffic and conversions. I'm a partner with those guys and with Infusionsoft, and there's 600 employees at that corporation. Yeah.
Nice, man. So you play with some small friends, I see.
Yeah. I got friends in small places.
Now, this is pretty awesome, and great organizations that you're working with there and partnering with. So, and you do have a podcast as well, right? You mind telling us a little about that?
Yeah. So our podcast is Automation Rehab, and I was doing Sobriety Society, and then I transferred over to Automation Rehab, which I work with some of the top marketers and salespeople in the world. And a lot of these have spoken on big stages like Social Media Examiner, Icon, GKIC, which is the grandfather of digital marketing, Dan Kennedy, and of course, traffic and conversions and content and commerce and such. Yeah.
So some pretty good field there, and I again, it's really cool when you get a chance to connect with individuals that have great content and could glean from that. So I'm going to put that back in our show notes so folks can get access to it and connect with you. But right. Today we're going to talk about turning these cold prospects into hot leads. I mean, everyone gets cold people or gets cold prospects. The challenge is, and it's one of the hated part of the sales process, is the cold outreach or working with cold people. And we want to figure out how we can best do that. But let's start from the very top. When it comes to why do salespeople in your book have such a hard time with cold prospects in the first place?
Well, I think a lot of times that, and top salespeople, they have their own system. And so for them, it's really a mindset thing. And when you show them a new system that can help them, I know that a lot of times I talk about this and they'll go, oh, well, how come no one else is doing that? And I'm like, no, other people are doing that. But to break through, it's kind of like this. If you're driving a Ferrari the whole time, but you don't know you have paddles, and then someone's like, hey, there's paddles right there on the steering wheel. And they're like, oh, I got it. I know how to drive. So it's really breaking through that mindset and showing them an easier way of doing something.
Okay, so let's and again. I don't want to set this up in a better way. I think I probably didn't clarify, head it up there, but you kind of guided there. Well, I want the listener to make sure they can understand. We're going to take some of these cold leads and
Right.
turn those into hot prospects. And I
Right.
think that's where you're saying now with so many times the sales reps, they love camping out with this is how we've done it for years. This is what has worked for us
Right.
in the past and not willing to try something new. Give me an
Yeah.
example of what you're seeing sometimes when you work with your clients and what the sales reps are doing right now when they get some of these quote unquote cold leads.
So a lot of the salespeople, what they do is they will just follow up and they'll call. They'll call the person and they usually pull out an Excel spreadsheet or something to that effect. And they'll just stay in front of the person calling them. And then they'll say, okay, call in a week or 2 or 10 days. And then we'll call them later. And then, and then when I say, okay, well, you can hit them from 5 different angles.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, that's okay. I've been doing it this way the whole time and this works for me. And when you tell them the 5 different angles, I think the biggest challenge is technically they have to do things different. And that learning curve, because there's a thing called the sales consciousness, and they
Yeah.
need to stay in that, and so it kind of affects that consciousness because you have to think a little bit differently. Can I
Yeah.
give you a quick example?
Please.
So there's a whole new thing now that iPhone's coming out where if you're not in the person's contact list, you're going to go straight to voicemail. That's
Yeah.
something they're wanting to do. So what we're suggesting to salespeople is text the person first. Now there's technology. Maybe a lot of people are already doing this, but it's where when you're talking with someone, you could text the person you're going to call next and let them know, hey, this is Mike. I'm going to call you in a few minutes. Just know that it will be me calling. Now, since you texted that person, when the phone rings, they're going to answer it.
Yeah.
If you're not in their contact list and they just see some weird area code, they let that go to voicemail. But if you text them, letting them know who it is, that increases your chances of them answering the phone.
That's very brilliant too, because in some instance too, depending if that person's email address is also associated with their phone, right? If they have it on their phone, I get sometimes, like say you probably never spoken to me on the phone, but if we have exchanged emails, but what will happen, iPhone will give me a notification that it could be Shoan as well.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
Absolutely.
that same idea like you're saying, but the text, I love that because it's prepping you. It's getting the anticipation ready. And worst case scenario, if I text you and you say, hey, DK, this is not a good time. I just got 2,000 fires that came up this Monday morning. Can we reschedule? At least I know and I can reschedule that as opposed to calling you and playing that stupid follow-up game, right?
Right. And it's also something when they reply to the text, that's called engagement. And that's what every salesperson wants. They want engagement. They don't really want to close the deal immediately. They just want, am I engaged? Am I connected? And do you like me?
No, you're right. And I feel we teach internally here and also teach to our clients is getting them to that next step. And that's where you're saying with that engagement. So if I do want to get that first appointment, I'm going to praise an internal seller if they did that. If one of my sales reps, they got the appointment, like, great job. The goal is not to, like you say, go swing to the worst offenses and close on one call, which we don't typically do with our programs. I don't know about most of the people here, B2B sellers, it take a minute and it take multiple calls to understand. So and I think that's an old school mindset, right? That it's like, I got to close them. I got to close them.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just want to engage. And that's really what cold leads to hot prospects while you sleep. That's initially what I named it in 2012. Back then, everybody was like, while you sleep, make millions while you sleep, but the thing with this is like through the different angles, like you said, with email and text is also with snail mail. Now, a lot of people don't realize that snail mail, especially when you're doing it to an individual. So what I have is I have a case. You can get these, and these are really cool, the ones I have, but you can brand them and they're USB drives and they're only 2 gig. Now, what I do on mine is I put in there, it's called Read Me First. So it's a text file called Read Me First. That in a way, no matter what device they're on, they'll be able to read it because it's a text file, not a .doc or any, Apple technology. And then in there, it says, in here, I do a little introduction video. So I put that on there. And I also have a PDF, which would be your lead magnet. But here's the thing, in the PDF, they're going to read a little bit about your business and you're going to build value with that PDF, but there's going to be links in that PDF. And those links can go to, like, you use Calendly or Schedule Once. A link can go to for them to set an appointment with you, or it could go to a video training series, or it could go to various things, your website, your about page, your contact page. So those are just little ninja tricks. So when you mail this thing, I'll tell you what I do. I just did this recently. So I had a client, and they wanted me to come. They paid me like $1,000 to come down and talk to him for. I don't even know why I was there. They didn't listen to me. There's a bunch of people there, you know. I was like, I'll take the money.
I'll take it, man. I need buy some lunch, dinner.
Right. Yeah. And so then I met the other guy that was like the sales trainer there, because I'm more of a marketing sales, and he's but so I connected with him, and he does live events, and he goes, Shoan, I really like what you have to say. Why don't you connect with me and we'll see what we can do. So I ran cold leads to hot prospects. I mailed him the USB. Yeah. Now, when I mail it to him, then I send an email saying, hey, thanks for talking to me on the phone. I just mailed this to you. And it's called a lumpy envelope. I put it in an envelope. So when they get the envelope, it's lumpy. And then I have a Staples That Was Easy stamp. It just says easy on it. And I stamp it with a red easy. And so the email that I send to him says, hey, thanks for talking to me on the phone. I sent you, the free gift with all the value on it, right? Valued at $79,000, right? And so expect that in a couple days. I'm going to say the process real quick. Yeah. And then I have an admin call a day or two later saying, hey, you'll be receiving this lumpy mail in your mailbox, and it's going to have a red stamp on it, and it's going to be kind of lumpy. So just be aware it's going to come there. Now, you got to remember, the reason we're running this particular campaign is someone has said, we didn't close the deal, and someone has said, let me think about it. I need to talk with my spouse. I need to talk with my business partner. They have all these, objections. Yeah. And so what we're doing is we're just saying, hey, we mailed you something. When the admin calls, they're just reminding them, hey, you'll be receiving this in your mail. So this is, remember, we're coming at different angles, right? Yeah. You can text them as well. And then the admin go, do you have any questions? Because they might go, hey, I spoke with my business partner. Let's set an appointment. Now, if they don't set an appointment, now they get hit by the mailbox. They get the little thing. They have all this little information on the USB in order to connect or set an appointment. And then in like 4 days, the admin's going to call again and just say, hey, we sent you that. We just want to make sure that you receive the lumpy mail. And they may say, I didn't get, but what's happening here is you're following up without being a pest. Yes. Okay. And this is the biggest deal about this. So then when they might say, oh yeah, I received it. Well, one thing, there's a difference between being assertive and being aggressive. And being aggressive is, well, did you read it? Right? They're like, no. So you got to train your admin and script your admin on this. I give you all the scripts and everything, by the way. Yeah. And then I'll give them to you. I'll give you a link to put on your website to where everyone can get it for free.
Oh, appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. But then the admin will say, well, what did you think about it? See, that's assertive, but it's not aggressive. And they're like, oh, I didn't really have time to open it up. Okay, well, do you have any questions? Well, actually, I was interested in talking with your CEO. How would we set an appointment? Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because this is how we do it, right? We lock them down. Now, if you don't get them on there, then you're going to send an envelope, and it's going to have testimonials in there, right? And then another thing is
this second envelope?
Yeah, it's a second envelope. And it goes out on and this is a 30-day campaign. Yeah. So that goes out on day 7 or 8. And that envelope is going to have testimonials in there, speaking a little bit about you, something to build more value. Mm-hmm. And then you could have another bonus package. So I have one called Data Driven Dashboard, which people like to know, like in my industry, they like to know the numbers. CEOs, They just want to know the numbers. I don't care. Is it a 1? Should it be a 0? And if it's a 0, how do we make it a 1? And when are we going to make it a 1? And it should be a 1 right now, right? So,
Pretty much.
so with that, we get them the bonus, and then we send them a text and another email, right? Just building more value. And then, if you can, like, if you don't have a fiduciary responsibility, the one cool thing about this is, like, if you're doing health insurance or life insurance or anything like that, it won't work.
Yeah.
But if you're like a service provider, you could say, hey, listen, right now, you know, it's normally $5,000. We're gonna give it to you for $4,500. And then if you don't lock them down, you could say, okay, we'll just keep it open for 30 days. But after that, I know you need to talk with your business partner. After that, the price goes up, right?
Yeah.
I know that's kind of sketchy for some salespeople, but listen, you didn't lock the deal down anyhow. So you might as well give them 30 days and lock them down at that price. And then you're going to say, and then you're going to sign it up. Hey, the price is going up. Hey, it's the final thing. I'll give you guys all the content, all the copy, all the emails. You can use it in your text, emails, and snail mail. And, but that's literally how it works.
You know, the interesting thing about that, sometimes I wrote down a couple things. I like the idea of the bonus. You're giving them something else. And then 2, going back to this idea of the urgency or scarcity factor. And I think most people understands that, like, especially if you're a sales rep, or even if it's just, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily sketchy, but you find some people, if you were to ask them for a quote, they say this quote lasts for, 60 days or 30 days or whatnot, because of the simple fact that things might change in their industry or the process. And for you, especially if you are a marketing company and you're doing a consultancy, if I have 4 other people who are lined up now to become clients, you're going to have to wait, or you're going to pay more, and I'll put your stuff at a top priority. But it's just a simple fact. So that's just the nature of the beast at times. So
yeah, and we also, we get overwhelmed. We're like, we can't take you on now. You have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, it lasts for 30 days. So let me know, because you can't just sit around and camp out and wait for people to take forever. You got to run a business as well. So
and I'm not going to chase them around. That's the biggest deal.
No.
Like, one of my favorite lines is, look, I'm success. Oh, by the way, I didn't make this up. I got it from Boiler Room. It was Vin Diesel, right? But he says, the guy goes, why should I give you my business? And he goes, I don't want your business. I value your business. Listen, I'm successful enough to where I don't need to chase your business. I just want to make a difference. And I was like, that is classic, And that's really the truth with a lot of us. We're successful enough where we don't need to chase your business. We just want to make a difference, But,
on all of this, I imagine when you share stuff like this to salespeople, what's one of the first things they tell you? Besides the fact that
a lot of times with the salespeople, I mean, they'll just say, we've never done that before. No one else is doing it. It's because they get in their head the learning curve.
Yeah.
And it's really not that hard, but it's like they have to produce some content.
Yeah.
Like getting so I have these 5 things in your toolbox, or your marketing arsenal that you already have. And if I could think of them off the top of my head, most people have a lead magnet, like a video series or a PDF, which is training about their service or product, right?
True.
Another thing that people have are testimonials. Now, a lot of people don't know that testimonials are marketing tools. A lot of people will have a testimonials page, but did you know if you have a contact us page and you have a web form, you put a testimonial right by there?
Yeah.
It's like, put your name in here because this is what other people are saying about us, right?
Yeah.
So and then how to write a testimonial. What I do with the testimonials, some of the ways that I get a testimonial is I write the testimonial for the person, and I say, this is what I'm going to be saying about, this is what I'm going to put this testimonial, and this is what you're going to say about me. Is it okay if I put this up on my website or put it in my book or whatever?
Yeah.
So I have a book called Fill Your Wellness Center on Amazon. Anyhow, so with that, usually they'll just say, oh, this is great, and all they'll do is they'll erase some words and they'll put in their voice and they'll reply, right? And that's the way I get a testimonial. But what I do in my testimonials is I put an objection in there and overwrite it. So I would say something to the effect of, we really weren't sure that we could work with Shoan. I got this one yesterday. We have PTSD from guys that do marketing automation, and they've always ripped us off. And we weren't sure that we should work with Shoan, but boy, are we happy we did, because in the past we've seen the results that he's got from other people, and we just didn't want to pull the trigger. But once we did, he found the diamonds in our database, and he helped us double the size of our business. I'm making that up on the fly, right?
Yeah. And what I love about it is that it's not peaches and cream, because sometimes people will say, I love Shoan, he's a nice guy, he takes so much time to care for me. Like, that's not the problem that I'm having. I'm thinking, do I spend this 10 grand on this marketing? Am I going to get results from it?
Yeah.
And that's, you're addressing that in that statement. Or, you might say, I don't have if somebody was to use the objection, the timing, it just wasn't a right timing for us. But, I didn't know if it was the right timing for us, but I'm glad we did it because blah, blah, blah. We saw the result.
Which is a great example of the sign of the times we're in right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to say this, but I will say it's April of 2020. So just Google that for this podcast. But for right now, people say, hey, this is a bad time. It's like, this is the best time to get in front of people, because we have a saying is, just in sales and marketing is, you don't want someone else calling your prospect. And if someone else does call them, you want that someone to be you, right? So this is the best time to be in front of people. I just got a new client last week, and he paves parking lots. He does asphalt. Listen, what is going on with all the parking lots at small business and business buildings right now? They're all empty.
Yeah.
This is the perfect time for him to close property managers and tell them, get us out there. We're going to pave your parking lot. It's going to be done. And when this is all over, you're going to have a beautiful, gorgeous parking lot that is just, and he's crushing it right now.
And the other cool thing about that too is, like, right now, I think if you were to, one of the things that I coach my clients on is, like, you take advantage of the vacuum, because there are a lot of salespeople, and there are a lot of people right now who are hiding, who are saying, well, I can't do anything. It's going to be tough. So I'm just going to go camp out and watch Netflix and be a homeschool teacher. And yes, we do have to help teach our kids at home. However, I do feel that there's times that we can do stuff. You still have your evenings, and you still have early mornings. You still need to put yourself out there. And the idea is, buy right now, quote unquote, real estate. And there's a digital real estate. What can you do to get out in front of these people? Because all your prospects are going to be home, whether you sell B2C or B2B. So when we get out of this, and all of them are looking for somebody to give them hope. So if they see you as that leader in your industry, what is it going to be when you call them in 2 months or 3 months? They're going to say, wow, man, dang, that Shoan guy, he knows his stuff. I watched his video. He was right there. He answered questions. He helped guide me through that tough time. He gave me some marketing tips that I could take advantage of. Now I have, an extra 15 grand. Let me go ahead and invest in this program. So I just feel right now it's the time, instead of hiding, take advantage of it. Jump out in there while the vacuum is
well, that kind of segues, and I know we only have a couple minutes, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to say this real fast, is there's something called the re-engagement campaign.
Yeah.
And there's the trigger phase, the re-engagement, and the win-back phase. So you kind of want to treat it like, I know you don't want to go back to an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend or spouse, right? But just remember, like, sales is like dating. It's like, and everyone says this, it's like, let's get the cup of coffee, let's go to dinner and a movie. Let's meet the parents. Let's get married. Let's have a kid, not opposite, right? Like, we want to gently move into it. We just don't want to go call on the phone and say, hey, you want to buy this for, 25 grand? They're going to be like, well, who are you, first of all, right? But right now, in your database, right now, you have leads of the past 30 days. You treat those leads the way you've always treated them. But between 30 days and 120 days, you want to reach out to those people and say, and right now is the perfect time to reach out to these people.
Yeah.
Because they're at home. They have time to talk, and just say, hey, can we talk? What's going on? How are you doing? This is what I say on a human level. How are you doing? And they just relax, and they go, Shoan. And I had one lady say, I'm having real mental problems. And I said, you want to, and we just talked on a human level. I'm getting emotional because she was just like, this is killing her, and she needed someone to listen to her. And so then when you get through that what's called the re-engagement phase, you want to re-engage with all the people that are in your database that never came on board. Anyone after that, you just do long-term nature. It's like, hey, should I take you off my list? Like, we haven't talked in 6 months. What's going on? Is this the end? Like, really get more in that kind of context.
Yeah.
But then you have the people that were past clients and that are no longer clients. So you can run what's called a net promoter score. Just Google that. Or just call them back and say, hey, we still have a couple openings. Why don't you come back and just re-engage with them? Right now is the time salespeople should be on the phone calling everyone in the past, because the new leads aren't coming in as much.
Yeah.
You re-engage with those old people, and when you get back in the office, you're going to just see your portfolio grow.
That is awesome, man. Let's say that there's one major takeaway, one major tip you would give to someone who's listening to this episode and they should walk away with their B2B sales rep. What's that one major piece of advice?
The main advice I would give is connect with all your current clients right now and ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think we're doing? And all the people that are saying a 6 or below, reach out to them and just say, hey, what's going on? And all the people that are saying a 9 to 10, ask them for a referral.
Mm.
And it's like, if you're not asking, and when you ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think we're doing? They're saying 9. They talk with Chris every Monday over a cup of coffee, saying, hey, you need to meet my salesperson over here at so-and-so company. And Chris every time's like, yeah. But if you say on a scale of 10, 1 to 10, they say, oh, I'd give you a 9. Well, who do you know? Well, I know Chris. Well, connect us with Chris. Why don't you just do just email him BCC, and now you're connected. But if you're not asking your current clients the net promoter score, then you're losing out on a lot of change that's on the table, and we need to scoop that up and put it in our pocket, And if we're not doing that, we're really being selfish by not helping their friends.
Amen to that, man.
Yeah.
Well, Shoan, if people out there want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to go and contact you?
So right now I have automationrehab.com, and that's like my main site. My parent company, I have something else, but and then what I'm doing right now is zoomforfitness.com. I know it sounds weird, but Zoom for Fitness is the one I'm working on, and there's a lot of sales training and marketing in there, and how to set up Zoom the ninja way. This is like really ninja. You're not going to see these videos anywhere else. And I'll give you the link to that as well, to where everyone can get the cold leads to hot prospects while you sleep and the Zoom video trainings for free. We'll just open that up to everybody.
Awesome, man. Well, appreciate that. Thank you. I'll put that in the show notes.
Okay, cool.
Well, Shoan, man, thank you again for coming on the show today and sharing your insights. We truly appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Listen, that was Mr. Shoan Snoday, and if you would like to connect with Shoan, you can go ahead and find him in the contact information down below. We have some notes that we've taken. Our team do a pretty good job with writing these episode show notes, and if you want to find and read the full thing, just go to our website, thesalesevangelist.com/the-word episode number 1314. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/the word episode number 1314, and you can learn about Shoan. You can learn about some of the great things that he's doing, the content that he produces, as well as his podcast and my episode on that podcast, as well as how you can take advantage of the strategies that he shared today. If you haven't done so already, check out our friends over at Crumble. That's crmble.com/TSE. No you. crmble.com/TSE. Learn about Crumble and see how you can use the CRM to easily guide and take care of your pipeline. I share stuff like this. I bring on friends like Shoan because I want to help you. I've been there and I know the struggle. I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you actually speak to them. And I want you to naturally close more deals. But most importantly, I want to challenge you each and every single day to go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up in the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.